eagerly waiting for the session. Now I hand over the session to you, sir.
Hey guys, uh, very good afternoon. So
Sir,
my
please
name
unmute
is
your mic, sir. Your
one
mic is
sec.
muted.
Is it? One sec. Okay, one second. Yeah, everyone. This is Bharat Surendran. Hope you guys are able to hear me.
Yes, it's
Yes, sir.
audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, see, my name is Bharat Surendran. I'm a digital entrepreneur. Even though I passed out my degree, whatever, maybe way back, maybe 20 years, more than 20. I don't know how many years. It's been 1998. I passed out. Then after that, I was totally into both the working in different companies, corporate, and also I started a startup. So it was in 2005. I had a small startup, a garage kind of a startup with two partners. There are two partners and very senior to me. I was just 29-year-old. There are other two were pretty older than me, 40-year-old. One another person was 60-year-old. We had a partnership firm. We had a small garage setup in Annanagar. So those days, there never used to be this startup culture. Okay, so it is like only weird out people who are very weird will actually go and start a company or start something on their own. I was one among. I was very few. Like it is like so simple. It was when we all passed out 1998. It was an IT boom. So everybody, Tom, Dick, Harry, everybody, whoever it is, will go to an IT industry, and it was booming. Everybody used to go to America for projects and things like that. So it was that kind of a trend where very few people would actually aspire to be on their own. And it would happen that after my engineering, I landed up in a small job where it was a dot com. I was in a dot com startup for 1.5 years. But then I moved out to other projects, bigger projects, and all those things, which I was not happy the way in which it was. I was not a typical employee. So I was thinking about starting something on my own. One of the greatest aspirations for me was this one word called starting something on your own. That is like your own product, own company, own brand, or whatever. And that was always attractive for any entrepreneur. I guess a lot of people out here are more entrepreneur in nature. It is always something in your thing, internal thing, makes you to be on your own. You don't really want to work under a boss, or you don't want to actually report to somebody and do something what the other person is dictating you to do. In fact, that is what normally happens in any corporate setup, you understand. But then if you do not like that, and if you actually want to be on your own, then you end up becoming an entrepreneur. So simple as this. So I was one among that kind of a young person out there. But I'll tell you, important thing today. Happy that there are so much of forums and so much of kind of ecosystem is created. Entrepreneurship is welcomed today. So I am coming from an era that not even a single person would actually tell you to be an entrepreneur. Moment somebody says that this person is something wrong with the person, you understand, socially they will say that something wrong with this person. In Tamil, I don't want to use Tamil, but இருக்கிற வேலையை விட்டுட்டு ஏதோ ஒன்று பண்றான். Like, they will say that you are whatever the existing job, right? You are leaving that and then you are trying to do something else. And that was again, it's a societal lot of pressure when entrepreneur has to undergo. Family also might not be really happy because it depends upon the family, of course. Being entrepreneur, if you understand, it is not about creating a product. That is the major mistake that everybody normally does. So the first startup which we created, okay, we actually pumped up some money, whatever, and then we had a small garage setup and we are trying to do something. 1.5 years we are trying to create something called a product, so called a product. But I'll tell you, for 1.5 years, we are not able to actually roll out a product. Those times, there never used to be the concept of the MVP, minimal viable product. So we were actually trying to do something and come out. But sadly, I'll tell you, it was not a great beginning. Then I moved out, and then I again back to corporate. Then 2009 I have started my own, and I've been on my own as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, as a trainer, and so many things and all these things for the last a decade or so. What I want today is I want to share my experience and ideas. I want this session to be a more interactive session rather than I'm talking about my experience or whatever. I want I want you to take some important things out from here, because I'm a very practical guy. So I actually believe that it is not pie in the sky is not going to work out for any entrepreneur. An entrepreneur has to be very grounded. Okay. So I want this section to be more interactive in nature. I want people to ask me questions which I want to actually answer. Okay. So that is what I actually want to do. There are some lessons which I want to actually tell you, important things that I want to tell you, and those are important things that you have to take away as entrepreneur, because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that we have done, right? One of the important thing is, like, what is that you're going to create. It is very, very important that people always miss out on one important thing, very, very important. What is that? I'll tell you. It is so simple that we are always trying to do one thing, that create a product. Always we want to try to create a product. But one important thing, that in the dot com, I don't know whether you have read about dot com bubble time, no? Dot com boom happened and the bubble happened. Almost all companies vanished off. Why all the companies vanished off? A simple reason. There used to be one, guy used to write that time. There is a startup. Somebody who was talking about startup at the time. Rob Bryan, I guess so. He used to say, "Do the dog like the dog food." That was a wonderful catch statement that used to be. So you are actually trying to create a product, but you don't know whether the product whether will be accepted by the community, whether the people are going to buy your product. You don't even have any idea. What is the point in creating a product? You tell me. So if suppose people are not going to buy your product, what is the point in creating a product? Spending so much of money on it. So it is useless if suppose you are going to create something. I don't know history. There is history. Go back to history and look at how many products have been created. That product never got sold, including, for example, your Xerox machine. For example, the guy who invented the Xerox machine was not even able to sell not even a single Xerox machine. I'm not Xerox, it's called photocopy machine. Not even a single photocopy machine. End up just as a design, a pattern. And then Xerox came in and then recreated the machine. And this time he entirely changed the business model. Not just going and trying to sell the product, but he actually went on leasing that particular product to offices and things like that. And that's how it got penetrated into the market. So you have to understand one thing, that it is not the product which is going to really give you the solution at all. So the solution is, like, you have to actually find what is needed in the market, what exactly the customer needs. Customer becomes very, very important, number one. And if you are not going to really think about the customer, the market, right? It is like, I will tell you, even if you are not able to create a product, that's okay. If you are able to think about the customer, I'll tell you, you can survive as an entrepreneur. You can earn your own income. You can have your own business. You can have your own, life. That is very important, essential for a entrepreneur. That is the fundamental I'm talking about. The next level of motivation is, of course, an entrepreneur has to create something. The creation has to happen. Creation has to happen in various forms. One question somebody is asking: how do I find my team members? That is the most critical element for any entrepreneur. The most difficult part. I'll tell you, even today, I'm also actually struggling to get people. Actually, I don't have proper. It's like used to happen long back when we were all the classmates together, come together and forming a company was not at all happening. Why? Because everybody was running after what is the opportunity they have. Everybody was an opportunist, because more money, somebody is giving you more money, you will go to that company. You understand? So they will not actually go and form. Let us all create a company and let us all work together and create something. That attitude, that is the attitude that you have to have the entrepreneurial culture actually. That culture, again, I think right now, at this point of time, I don't know, for some reason, it is coming back. I should say. These youngsters at this point of time, I don't know, some reason, people are coming back with this concept, so called, let us all try to, even it's not about making money, how much of money I have in my wallet is important. It is important I actually create something out of my passion. So that I really appreciate that this is what is important. Okay. So I think that is what important for this particular generation. So I will just open up now. I want to people to interact. I want you to ask certain questions. So I'm waiting to answer your questions, please.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Saranya.
Yeah. Hi, Saranya.
I would like to ask a question. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I have what are the mistakes could we avoid between partnerships, sir?
Mistakes that you can avoid in partnerships.
Yes.
Yeah, very important. See, it's always normally happens. I think first thing partnership. If you form a partnership firm, it's not that the forming a partnership firm. Whether it is going to be any other thing, like whether it is going to private limited or whatever. Anyway, you're going to have partners. It normally happens. I'll tell you. Each and every guy would be probably going in different directions. That normally happens, and we can't avoid it. It is very difficult to actually stop that to happen. It normally happens that actually people going in different directions. It is important for any entrepreneur to make sure that there is a single person who actually takes care of taking up the final decision. That is the reason in every organization we have something called a CEO. Now, if that is not the case, now you understand why should we actually have CEO? You have CEO because there has to be somebody who has to actually create, somebody who has to actually do the final decision. Okay, so it is important, even though there is a lot of things is discussed. Okay, brainstorming is very important. Collective. I should say the consciousness is very important, and teamwork is very important. But then I will tell you that the conflict of interest should not happen. So you have to actually have company should actually stand for something. It is very important. Like the give and take and the win-win. It is very important. You have to form a team where there is win-win happening. Just because, let's say, for example, I have got 10 rupees and you have got 5 rupees. Immediately, you should not feel bad about it. Now, that is where the problem happens in most of the partnership partnership firms, or I'd say in any company for that matter. So it is very important that you have to actually have the so-called win-win. I win, you win. So it is not about just one person winning and another person losing. So if that is going to happen, then always the partnership will always have a problem. I think that is where we have to really work out. And another thing, what is the objective? It is very important. So I have, even though there are 4 or 5 people, there is one person who actually takes up the decision. You give that, you should not, like, it will normally happen. Even when I was a partner, I was running a partnership firm. There are 3 partners are there. The person who is there, who is actually the chairman, who actually the person who takes everything. During the meeting, all of us are sit and discuss, and then you come out, and these 2 guys will be discussing that guy what he said was not right. Am I right? You understand? So I think that should be avoided, and the open communication, understanding each other, not back talking, backbiting. These things should be totally avoided to run a smooth organization. So does it answer your question? Any other thing you want?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The objective you have given is very clear for us, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions, please?
So difficulties in early stages, as an entrepreneur, difficulties in early stages.
I think the early stages is everything is difficult. To be frank, everything is difficult because you are running around, and you are actually trying to do too many things. You understand? I always used to say at that time, who are you? In the visiting card, you actually have your name, and then there's something called director. But if you ask what are you, you are the CEO, you are the vice president, you are the manager, you are the clerk, and you are the delivery boy. Is it not true? If you are an entrepreneur, you are almost all in all. Okay, and you are all in all, and then what exactly happens is you end up actually having nothing. Sometimes it happens. No, that is what the pain. Initially, I'll tell you, everybody organize. You have to understand. You are actually trying to build an organization. Understand? Organization is like a baby. No, first the baby will not run. Baby will actually go first. Initially, it will actually slowly. It will actually crawl. Actually, okay, the organization will crawl like that, and it will slowly, it will actually stand up, and then slowly it will walk, and then only then it will actually walk faster, and then it will run. So if you cannot expect it to actually run immediately. So the organization always, it is like growing. Like it has to be first. Initially, you have to take care of your organization, your baby, right? Then if it becomes a teenager, then if it becomes on its own, it is going to manage on its own. So it is like you're creating organization. You understand? Our entrepreneur is not creating a product. Entrepreneur is not creating something else. He's trying to create something out of more than a product. So that is the toughest task. If you can create an organization, nothing like that. It is the toughest task. And for that, I think what you have to do is first, initially there is going to be a lot of setbacks. I'm very sure. Even today, you ask me, Bharat, have you successfully done something? I will say, even after all these years, I'll say, still no, still I have not begun. The question, if you ask after all these years, have you begun? I say, no, I have not begun. I'm yet to begin again. So it is like entrepreneur has to keep on renewing, and then you have to keep going over again and again to do something, right? That is what an entrepreneur is all about. So initially, there is going to be a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is cash, money. Now, what is the capital? I don't have capital. How am I going to manage, right? So capital becomes very, very important. So okay, fine, you got capital. Now, important thing is, with the capital, what am I going to do? That is the major question. Next question. Next question is, I see most of the entrepreneurs, I would say, the major mistake they all do is they end up buying all those equipments, machinery, putting an office, putting this one, that one, air condition, putting a table and a chair and this, that, all the things you buy. That's the first thing you do. First thing, you want to start a company, what do you do? First, I have to rent out a property. I have to have my building. I have to have my board. I have to have my display board outside, this one, and all those things you do, right? And then the factory guy also produces everything and creates a factory. Everything he does. And then after that, what exactly you ask them, that particular person, you would say the problem is that he doesn't have a sales team, he doesn't have a sales system, he doesn't have money to advertise, he doesn't have all these things, right? To go ahead. 1 second, please. Yeah. So I think that is where we all fail. 1 second. Could you just hold on? Yeah. So that is where we fail. So I think that is where we fail. I would say that initially, it is very important that the budgeting has to happen properly. I would say importance is given. You give importance to the marketing system, the sales system, and the things which is going to lead you to get new clients and customers into your business. I think that is very important. Initially, that we are not giving importance to these things, but we are actually giving importance to all the other things. Buying all the equipment, building furniture. Even I did the same thing. When I started, first thing I did is rent a building, have all this chair, furniture, this one, equipment, this one, all the things you do, right? But very important, it is even the product you are going to create, even that comes later. First thing comes is, are you going to have systems put in place? Make sure those systems actually work. What is the systems? What are the systems I'm talking about? I'm talking about lead generation system, lead nourishment system, lead conversion systems, client fulfillment systems. These kind of systems you have to have. That is more important. I think that is where we are actually making those mistakes. So I would say, first thing initially, to have those systems into place. You create a wonderful product. Yes, of course, you create a product. But before you create a product, have you gone to the market and did your research or market research? Have you understood your customer? Have you understand what is the pain? What is the need? Have you done all those work? Right? That is very important. So if you have not done those work, I think you have to go and check, and then you have to do those things. Yeah. Any other questions?
Sir,
Does it answer your question? Yeah.
sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah.
What was your mission at the outset, sir?
What was?
Your mission at the outset.
Very nice, very nice. See, it always happens at mission. See, I was going for a very large mission when I was young. Because there was like mission, I had a purpose. You might ask a question because Bharat, did you went out without a purpose, without a? I had a very large purpose. I had a great mission, this and all this. To be frank, but it was very very difficult because executing that mission, we had no cash, no money, right? There was no capital. I never had any capital, so. Without capital, without this, I was struggling as an entrepreneur, young guy out there. At that time, it was like for me one of the major missions because I have done a lot of things in the education space and the training space. So my mission was to bridge the gap between what is. Sorry, I think my son has come in. So I think because of after Corona, of course, all of us at home. So of course, everything happens at home, right? I'll tell you. See, one of the purpose, a large purpose, what I had, okay, was bridging the gap between what is expected in the industry and what is not in the educational space. So when I came out of college and when I got into my job and this and other thing, one of the major area we all faced, but particularly people like us, we faced was we never had proper skill training or proper mentoring, coaching, whatever, and what is the educational system, what was providing was totally something else. And the moment the guy actually comes on board, what is expected of him is not there. And I think the industry that when I came, I started very 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 early in that space, soft skill training and all the other hard skills training, all those things. So I had a small academy. I was in e-learning. So when I came into it was so simple like that. I have to bridge this gap. It was very very difficult, not easy. Because it was not easy because it was system, which is the education system. You cannot go and influence it. The hard part what we had was we were not able to go and influence the education system. One. Number two is we can't even go and influence the corporate, for example. So it was bridging that was not an easy task. I think we were like, it's like, in Ramayana, there used to be a small, this squirrel used to go and take those small stones, and then it will go and contribute to the bridge actually. And that is the kind of work we did, to be frank. But in that process, I think I would have went on doing training for almost, I don't know the number count, to be frank, thousands and thousands of students. I had tie up with EDI Ahmedabad. I had to do a lot of programs for EDI Tamil Nadu. I did lot of program for NISBAD. I did lots of program for various government bodies. I did lots of programs for so many universities, colleges, and so on. So I would say that is what my purpose was when I started. But I will say it was beyond making money, to be frank. But in that process, we were also thinking about what is that we should do to make sure that we are also make sure the profit also comes into picture. I think that is where actually I did a kind of, I would say, made a kind of, a balance. After some years, initially I think I was going ahead for only purpose, Then later I did a balance because when I went for purpose, it was like you get a lot of awards and rewards and things, what the other things beyond money, right? But after that, what exactly I did a balance, I should say balance. So I was into digital marketing. I was going and doing a lot of consulting work. I have been a consultant to Times of India Group for the last 2 years. I've actually changed my entire course over a period of time. I think that is the one learning as entrepreneur actually always happen. Entrepreneur actually happens that is over a period of time he also has to change the course of direction also in a way, because there used to be, I don't know whether you guys heard about something called the ikigai. There is four circles, right? You are out of passion you're actually trying to do, but is there a market to it? That I think you have to answer. That's very important. Any other questions? Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yeah, does that
Thank you,
answer?
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that answer? Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions, please? Any other questions, please? Yeah. No questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
My name is my name is Raj Lakshmi.
Yeah,
I'm a
Lakshmi.
faculty here.
Yeah.
Sir, it was quite inspiring listening to you.
Yeah.
I was wondering when you said that institutions lack the mentoring support. Institutions actually do not provide the skilling support and all that.
I mean, I'm talking about 15 years back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Long back, yeah.
Yeah. So we as an ecosystem, for example, TBA is one ecosystem of WhaleTech, and we are also another MBA program running parallelly. So we as an ecosystem, how do you think that we can actually support this, the budding entrepreneurs or those who are aspirational about entrepreneurship? One is to so one is to rope in people like you who are real-time field people who will give us the kind of mentorship and all that. So do you think the courses need a revamp, or how do you think we can actually build ourselves that way?
I'll tell you my experience. When we finished our engineering and then we got to get into the workspace, right? So when we got into it, was a technology. There were technology that was like important. When I was there, I was doing my entire coding and all those things in ASP VB SQL platform. So it was that time that the technology was there, and over a period of time, within some 2, 3 years, 4 years, and 2001, after that 2002, 2003, whatever, the entire technology totally changed. Everything changed. So within some few years, I would say just 3 years, 4 years, within some 2, 3 years, technology totally changes. Now you have to adapt to those technologies. That normally happens. So that better you adapt, and moment you adapt, within another 1 or 2 years, the technology is going to change again. And with it, this is same with anything for that matter. For example, somebody is going to go and finish his engineering for 4 years. Moment he goes out, there is going to be a totally sea change in everything, whatever he's going to look at. Like he's totally, I think he's going to be clueless in what is exactly happened and what he is supposed to do. And that is normally happens with anything today. And I think our education system should teach our student to adapt to these realities. It is like adapting to these realities that these changes will happen and how to go about changing this entire. So education is not, I would say, not 4 years doesn't end actually. Education is a continuous process. So that has to be inculcated into the student's mind, saying that what you learn in this 4 years is not actually exactly education is all about. It's a process. It is an ongoing process. That is one. Number two is, if you go back to the real world, the corporate world, right? There, it is all about numbers. It is all about results, right? Even if you become an entrepreneur, for example, right? It is all about producing results. And it is so simple, like you have to find where you can produce results. And that is where you have to actually have people leverage the talent. Like everybody is going to have their own talent. That is number one. And find that talent and how to leverage it becomes very, very important. Education sometimes misses on all these aspects, actually, to be frank. Today, I will tell you, a lot of people have been talking about soft skills for last so many years now. Soft skills, soft skills. Today, I will tell you, it is not even soft skills. I'll tell you, it is not even called soft skills. Even if you have soft skills, doesn't mean that you are going to get a job or thing or whatever, right? So you have to have this attitude. Now, today we'll say it's not about the soft skills, it's about the attitude, it's about the mindset. And you have to make sure that you have to change the mindset to today's reality. So it is an ongoing education. And that is the thing. I think today, gearing up. Everybody is gearing up. Americans are gearing up. Internationally, people are gearing up, and we have to gear up as well. So our education system has to totally change. Of course, we have to change to the current reality. What is exactly happening today? Something called work at home concepts have come. Old organizational thing is going to be totally changed now. And Peter Drucker used to say that organizational man will be no more. And today, I think organizational man is no more. It becomes a current reality today. People are working from home. All my friends who used to work from office now today is working at home. So the reality changing, and are we adapting to that? For example, team, it has become virtual teams. Today, what we are having virtual classrooms. Am I right? So I think I am very appreciative, to be frank, what educational institutions are doing these days. Because I used to go to so many colleges, I've done so many programs with them. I have commendable achievements, educational systems have done today. I'm very sure about it. But then, of course, we have to adapt. There is no other way, no other go. Because world is changing so fast. So much of disruption, technology, changes are happening. Even the gentleman who was earlier was talking, of course, he was talking about the new technology, of course. So I think that is what we are supposed to do. I'm myself a mechanical engineer, to be frank. So I do understand little bit something, some technology. So I think that is what you have to do. And otherwise, I think we would not be able to gear up. And technologically, I think a lot of things has to be kept updating. You have to keep updating. And for example, one thing that we all miss out in engineering syllabus, for example, all is like, people used to think about that I'm going to create something from scratch. Today, nothing can be created from scratch. Everything has to be reused, right? The technology, reuse of technology, existing, whatever it is there. I think that we have to actually reuse and create. It's not about creating something new. It is because everything has been already created. Something we have to actually innovate. So innovate. It's not invention, it is innovation. So I think that is where we are supposed to really focus our energies into. Yeah. Any other questions?
So,
Yeah.
I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
As you said, organizations like giving birth to a baby, sir.
Mm.
So, what will be the critical situation, sir? Critical session in that season?
Yeah. So I see the success of an entrepreneur. Okay, it relies on it is on certain factors. There are certain small, like I don't know whether you heard about something called 80/20 principle. That is where the problem actually happens. 80% of the result happens because of 20% of the activities. Not even 20%. Sometimes it might be just 10%. It might be 5%. It might be even 2% or 1%. And that 1% that you can do will give the 90% of the result. And what is that 1%? What is that 5%? That you have to figure it out. And if you can figure it out, normally what exactly happens is your success will happen. Invariably, it will happen. What we are trying to do, we are actually trying to do the rest of the 80%, which is producing only the 20% of the result. And where are we missing out? An entrepreneur, for example, I'll tell you, the fundamental skill that you have to have is number one is marketing ability, selling ability. Am I able to sell? Not only you, I'm talking about. See, when you become a large organization, you are not going to be a salesman or person who is going to go and sell your products and services. No. It has to be a system which has to actually take care of the sales and marketing. That is number one. And more than that, today I have realized after so many years, More than that, it is very important your financial skills. Sometimes some of them are very, very bad at numbers. I'll tell you, I'm also somebody who was very bad at numbers. I was very bad at mathematics. But your financial skills, your finance skills I'm talking about, ability to read the financial statements, numbers, understand what is a profit, what is sales, right? What is sales? What is top line? What is bottom line? What is in between that? How the expenses happen? What can I do to make sure that I can minimize these expenses, right? So, and what are the other numbers in the organizations, which is very important? Whether it is going to be return on investment or whether it is going to be return on the capital employed. Now, what is that I'm supposed to do? How am I to understand my number? It becomes very, very important. In the sense, number means it's so simple. It is like what should I do to produce cash flow in my organization? So you should be thinking about it almost every day. I'd say every minute you should be thinking as an entrepreneur. What is that I can do? I think those two aspects I'll do. Then the third aspect is, of course, your people. Now, the people who call this in an MBA who study marketing management, finance management, and then your HR. Of course, all three becomes very important from the practical standpoint for any entrepreneur. I would say you have to make sure that you have to do that so-called, I told you, not the 80% of the thing. It is just the 20%. 20%, there are important things that you have to do, and those things, if you do it as an entrepreneur, I'm very sure that you will be always successful. I want to give you an example. You have an example of Ambani's, for example. You have Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani, a classic example at this point of time that Mukesh Ambani became the richest man and Anil Ambani literally failed and he's become bankrupt. As simple as this, what? Because lack of skills that I'm talking about. The financial skills that you need is very, 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 very important. So as an entrepreneur, even if you do not have capital, even if you have very small little, do you have the so-called the skills that you needed to make sure that you are able to do something and make sure that you have to get your business to the next stage. These are very, very important for any entrepreneur. And if you have these skills, I'll tell you that no matter what, I think you are going to end up becoming successful for sure. That is the reality. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions, please? Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. So I think these are things.
Sir.
Yes, madam, please.
Good afternoon, sir. It is really innovative session. Definitely, we will contact you for further discussion. I'm thinking it is a basement, and definitely our students will raise after some time. Definitely, we will call you back for some more information.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir, for your session.
Thank you.
Mr. Subin, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yes, you can proceed.
Hello to everyone. I am Swins, behalf of WellTech. Very good afternoon to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for the lecture to dignitary assembled here. I would like to thank our guest, Mr. Bharat Surendran, sir, who honored the session with his inspirational thoughts and useful ideas. Once again, thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all present here.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you very much. Thank you for WellTech and all the best for everybody. Do make sure that you end up with a very successful entrepreneurial journey. Thank you.
Thank you,
for
sir.
joining. Thank you.